Hi, it's great to see two returning people. Thank you so much for coming again. Again, my name is Sandra Toner. I work for Ultra Special Operations Technology. A lot of what I do is focused on the administration of Confluence and Jira. However, there are quite a few people in our organization with admin rights, so you can imagine what kind of nightmare that is at times. I've had problems in the last couple of years with people kind of installing plugins willy-nilly and not really following any sort of process. Here's an email that I received at one point. One of the users was basically saying, hey, I opened up one of my pages today and it looks completely different and I don't know where my stuff is and I don't know what's going on. Somebody please help me. This is just kind of descriptive of, one of the problems that we've been having. When it comes to having so many people in your organization that can use the plugin manager and upload plugins all they want, you end up with sometimes so many plugins that some aren't being used, and there's a ton in there, and they're not really doing it in a responsible way, and that's what my presentation is all about. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the problems we've had, but I'm really going to focus on this plugin adoption model that I came up with to sort of help guide people into doing it the right way, so we wouldn't have to clean up their messes after the fact. So what are some of the problems that we've had? We've had, people decide that they really like the sound of a plugin, so they go ahead and install it, and then nothing happens. And they come to me and they're like, I don't know, this isn't working, this plugin sucks. And I go and take a look at it, and it's for a completely different version of Confluence or Jira. And I'm like, well, it probably works for the right version. We also have a problem where they're not notifying users. They install a plugin and either something looks different or something is no longer available. And there's usually never any user training, and this is really overlooked for something as simple as a plugin. Regardless of whether it's something very simple and not something that's really having a huge impact, it's important to show people how to use it and how to use it properly. If not, then it's kind of a waste to install your plugin. So this is my plugin adoption model, and I'll go through step by step. I've tried to roll this out and talk to each of the different admins, and I can't really force anybody to use it, but I've really been suggestive in saying, please at least consider some of these steps when you're looking at a plugin. And the first thing that I tell them is assess the benefit. Don't go and start installing several plugins because they look cool and you think that it's interesting and you like the idea of it. I urge you to really look at, does this really solve a problem for us? Does this help us get past some sort of obstacle, or help us move forward on any critical issues that we're having? Is it going to support team collaboration or help the team make progress forward? Does it help us? Is it making anything easier to use, or is it making something more complicated? Does our application of the plugin make sense with the bigger picture? Does this align with our business goals? Does this meet some sort of an organizational need? And that's a really important place to start. The next step, and I think that this is probably the most important step for the people that I've been working in, and it's very much overlooked, is reviewing the specifications. Read about the plugin. Take some time to learn about it before you really get into it, other than just reading the brief little description that's available. So what kinds of information do I urge that you look at? Check out the version details. When was it last updated? How thorough is the documentation? If it doesn't have very much documentation, it doesn't really help you once you've already installed it and you go in there and you're like, I don't know how to use this. Wait a minute, there isn't a lot of information about how to use it. Then you've, probably wasted some of your time trying to get it in there. I also urge you to look at the user ratings and reviews. Are there any reviews out there? Can you go ahead and, look through them, see what other people are saying. How many downloads have they had? Is this really popular? I would also look at other plugins from the same company. If there aren't a lot of downloads or aren't a lot of user reviews, does the company have other plugins that people are using? What support and issues are listed for this plugin? Are there any relevant discussions about this plugin in forums or answer sites? Also, check out the vendor details. Do they have a website? Do they offer other popular plugins like I said? Is the plugin free or does it have a cost structure? If so, think about determining what your return on investment is going to be measured by before you install and try and, purchase the plugin. That way, you'll know after the fact if it's really valuable to you and if, it's the return on investment has been met. The next step in my adoption model is notification. Regardless of the impact that it's going to have, whether it's small or large, let your users know. When you're starting to check out a plugin and you think it looks exciting, send out an email to the people that it might impact and just get them on board with you. Say, hey, I'm considering this, check it out, let me know what you think, I'm really excited about it, and sort of stoke that fire a little bit. Give them enough time to raise any concerns or questions before you go in there all gung-ho and force it down their throat, basically. And then follow up just before you install the plugin and also after the plugin has been deployed. The next step in my adoption model is test drive and buy it. I really like to install a plugin in a very small test environment that mimics our larger environment just to make sure it all works and runs properly. The fifth step is user training, and this can be something really simple. It can be an email with some step-by-step directions. It can be something more advanced, but let users know how to use your plugin because you're doing this to benefit them, and if you don't teach them how to do it, if they have to go out and figure it out themselves, it's just going to waste a lot of time. And finally, and I think this is a step that's often overlooked as well, give back. Atlassian is all about community, and if you're using a plugin, go back into the marketplace and write a review. Tell people how it worked for you. If you think it's wonderful, if you had a stumbling point, pay it forward and let people know how you felt about it, and that's going to help you in the long run because somebody else might pay it forward and tell you about another plugin that's awesome when you're looking at reviews yourself. So this is the adoption model that I came up with. Hopefully it might be useful to you. It's definitely an approach that's intended to prevent you from having to have some of the problems after you install if you do it kind of willy-nilly and you're not doing it in a thoughtful way. I was talking to some of the AppFire people and they said that they just came up with an adoption model similar to this that they were working with Atlassian on best practices. So I urge you to go check it out and look at that adoption model as well. Maybe that one will work better for you. So thank you very much. Feel free to talk to me at any point today. You can ask me about my adoption model or what we do with plugins or anything like that. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.